All right, let's get started. So if you want to flip to the next slide, perfect. Just a quick introduction about me. So as Al already mentioned, I am an attorney by training. I am Associate Director of Plan Giving at Stanford currently. I am the mother of a rescue pup, Penelope, who's pictured right in her Zoom attire. And I am a passionate pets in need supporter. So I've always been a huge animal lover. Before I moved to the Bay Area, I volunteered with 2 animal rescue organizations in Chicago and Michigan, Paws Chicago and the Humane Society of West Michigan, where I served on their board of directors. And we actually rescued Penelope, who's only 2.8 pounds, from Paws in 2012. As Al mentioned, I was connected to Pets in Need through a colleague, Angela Young, who's also a very great volunteer for Pets in Need. I was looking to become engaged in a local no-kill shelter, and it just so happened that Pets in Need was right down the street from my office. After meeting with the incredible staff and volunteers, I knew immediately that this is where I want to volunteer my time. As Al highlighted, PIN is really doing remarkable work for our community. But for organizations like PIN, I don't know where animals like Penelope would be, and frankly, I don't know where I would be without a dog like her. Our pets bring so much joy into our lives, and there's one positive thing that's come out of the pandemic. It's spending more time with them at home. She's so spoiled now. So anyways, enough about me and on to today's presentation. I'm going to do a very high-level discussion about plan giving and more specifically charitable bequests. So let's advance to the next slide, please. So what's plan giving? In a real simple nutshell, it is a future gift to charity made through financial and estate plans. So you may hear plan giving also referred to as gift planning or legacy planning, but today we're going to cover just the bread and butter of plan giving, which is charitable bequests. So let's dive in. What's a charitable bequest? You can think of a charitable bequest as a gift made at your passing, either through your will, your trust, or a beneficiary designation. So just to cover some estate planning 101 terminology, let's talk about what a will is. A will is a legal document that in part spells out your wishes for the distribution of your assets at your passing. This is probably the most commonly referred to estate planning document. You'll hear a lot of people say, in my will, you need to create a will. This is what we most typically think of as an estate planning document. A trust, or specifically a living trust, is a legal document to hold title to various assets during your lifetime in trust, and also to spell out how you would like those assets distributed after you pass. So 2 of the most widely known benefits of a trust are avoiding probate and assuring privacy. And a beneficiary designation is a description of a person, persons, or organizations you want to receive a particular asset after your passing. So as an example, you can put a beneficiary designation on a bank account. This is commonly known as a transfer on death or pay on death, TOD, POD designation. And you can name primary and secondary beneficiaries of those accounts. So primary beneficiary is the first person or persons or organizations to receive an asset. And if those people or those organizations, then the secondary beneficiary will receive the distribution. So next slide, please. So how to make a charitable bequest through a will, a living trust, a beneficiary designation. The truth is it's very, very simple. To make a charitable bequest via a will or living trust, you simply include language in your document to direct a specific amount or a percentage to a charitable organization. So this can be done in a few ways. At the onset, when you create the document, when you sign a new will or trust agreement, or by an amendment to your trust or a codicil to your will. And a codicil is just simply an amendment to your will, just an update. As an example, the language can be as simple as I designate $10,000 to Pets in Need to support its charitable purposes. Alternatively, you can designate a charitable organization as the beneficiary of a retirement plan, a life insurance policy, or another financial account. So with our increasingly virtual world, you can often change a beneficiary designation form from the comfort of your own home by just logging onto your account online. That plan administrators do have their own beneficiary designation forms to complete. So if you aren't sure, the easiest step and the first step you should take is contacting your plan administrator or your financial representative to ask. So you can, if you have an account at Chase and you aren't sure how to change your beneficiary designation, just call your local bank branch and ask to speak with the banker, and they'll certainly be able to direct you to the form. If you do have a donor advised fund, remember that you can name one or more beneficiaries to receive the balance of your account after your passing. This is an important detail that's commonly missed. A lot of times the custodians, so we're talking about like the Fidelity Charitable, Schwab Charitables of the world, don't discuss this with their clients, and you do have a donor advised fund. Quite a bit of money can pool in those accounts over the years, so naming a beneficiary is very, very important. Following our presentations, our friends at Pets in Need will send out a few simple tips on how to make a charitable bequest, including sample language for Pets in Need. And then just a real quick tip, it's never a bad idea to review your papers and your beneficiary designations from time to time to make sure that they accurately reflect your current wishes. When I was practicing as an estate planning attorney, I would tell clients to dust off their estate planning binder, every couple of years, review it, see if their circumstances have changed or if their wishes for their estate have changed, and to just scan it over and then to make updates at that time if necessary. It's very, very easy to let those papers sit for decades really, and then to think, oh shoot, it's been too long, I really need to update that. So just take a look at them every few years if you do have those papers. So next slide. So why make a charitable bequest? Well, there's a hint. There are many, many good reasons, but today I'm just going to cover a few of the big ones. Next slide, please. So I'm just going to read this quote out loud that I took from the Pets in Need website. So when you include Pets in Need in your estate plan, you are investing in our future and saving the lives of thousands of animals in the process. So this is really the biggie, right? It's the legacy. A bequest is a lovely way to leave a lasting legacy at an organization that you love, like Pets in Need. Bequest funding is critical to the well-being of charitable organizations. I see this firsthand at Stanford. These dollars are so valuable to supporting the mission of these organizations like Pets in Need. Bequests are also wonderful because they're simple. Simplicity is great. We love simplicity these days. As we discussed just a few minutes ago, leaving a bequest to charity often means just leaving a few sentences in a document or completing a simple beneficiary designation form. Flexibility, this is another big too. Charitable bequests are flexible and easy to update. If you include a charitable bequest and your circumstances later change, you can revoke the bequest just as easy in a subsequent will, codicil, trust amendment, or new beneficiary form. Another benefit is you retain control and use of the asset during your lifetime. So you don't part with the asset today, you part with it after your passing. So if your circumstances do change and a family member or another loved one needs a portion of the charitable bequest, you can change it. You stay in control. And then tax benefits. So I won't get into nitty-gritty of taxes today. That would take up a whole presentation. But charitable bequests can be a powerful tool to reduce an estate tax burden if there's a concern. So the federal estate tax exemption is very high right now. It's at historic levels. It's about $11.58 million per person, but that could be reduced in the future. So in general, there is an unlimited deduction of charitable bequests against the value of an estate. So if there are tax benefits that you'd like to consider, it's never a bad idea to check in with a financial advisor or your accountant to discuss how a charitable bequest could potentially help you to reduce an estate tax burden. And so I don't want to spoil any surprises, but Jacqueline will also announce another very exciting reason to consider a charitable bequest to Pets in Need shortly. And so that's kind of the bread and butter of charitable bequests, making them by an estate planning document or a beneficiary designation. It is very simple. Like I said, it just usually takes a few sentences, directing it to the charity and just making sure that you've reviewed your papers and that your intentions are correctly documented.